Hi there, my name is Aurelio Adarati and I'm excited that you're here. If you are looking for patio space planning ideas, especially now as we go into spring and into summer, then this video is for you. So as I've said before, we're going to be talking about patio transformation ideas for summer and even deeper into the year as you continue your patio space planning, right? Hopefully this video is helpful for you. I'm going to be talking about how I transformed the patio for my client who lives in a condo. So if you're looking for temporary patio planning ideas. In other words, maybe you live in an apartment, in a condo, spaces where you're tight on the lease, the restrictions that the lease agreement has, then this video is for you as well. And even long term, even if you own a home, this is also for you. So here is a view of my client's space. They have a condo, like I mentioned. It's a small space and they've had this furniture here for a very long time. Okay, and from when I was able to go into this space and check this out for myself, these are still furnitures, okay, steel or iron, and these are prone to rusting. So part of what we'll talk about in this video as well are outdoor materials, right? When you're planning, when you're sourcing for furniture for your backyard, for your patio, what kind of materials are what you should look out for, right? We'll talk about that more. Wood being one of the top most sourced out furniture that you should use for outdoors, but we'll talk about this more specifically, also what type of wood, right? So as you could tell from these videos, this space at this time is not really a space that's usable, right? So my clients called me because they wanted to be able to start using it for their family, using it to entertain. So that's one of the first things I have to ask them, how do they currently use the space? What is the purpose? What's the function? What is it that they're looking to do in this space, right? And they talked about, how sometimes they want to have guests over, just very small guests, or maybe even for family, even for their kids to come out and read here sometimes during the summer when they're out there. And so right away, my wheels started turning and I started getting the ideas together. So one of the first things that I actually did for them was to create a floor plan. And as a designer, a floor plan is very helpful. Even if you're doing this by yourself, a floor plan is a very, very great idea to start with any decorating project in your home. It helps you to get the layout. It helps you to understand what your space limitations are, right? So I got to space planning. And also, as I got to space planning and I found out what my clients were looking for, it helped me to figure out what kind of decorations we would have out here, what kind of accessories, what kind of decor, what kind of furniture that would have out here, right? And also, so one of the things they mentioned was that they wanted furniture pieces that would be low maintenance, right? So like, for example, if you got like white sofa furniture, right? That would be high maintenance. So right away, we struck that out, right? And so my sourcing for them and my recommendations for them were around things that will be low maintenance, and even including up to the type of umbrella that they use in their outdoors, right? So as you'll see right away, they also have a concrete slab on the floor. So one of the recommendations that I actually suggested to them, working with my contractors with them as well, was that we should repave this space, right? But of course, that was out of the option because, again, like I mentioned, they live in a condo, so they're limited to the amount of things that are permanent that they can't add to the space. So we struck that out as well. So the other suggestion that I then made for them, which they accepted, is to go ahead with deck tiles. And why deck tiles? Because they're affordable, they're easy to install, right? They're low maintenance, as my clients suggested that they wanted things that were low maintenance, right? Not high maintenance. They're also stylish and they're also versatile, right? Easy to install. So these were one of the reasons why I recommended using deck tiles. So here in this quick video, I actually show what the difference was between installing the deck tiles and what was there previously. Before, we power washed the concrete first, and after power washing, then the contractors got ahead to start installing the deck tiles. And it was a pretty easy installation once you have the right tools. And I can't tell you how much this transformed the space, right? I did this project for my client years ago, so I don't have full footage, but for the full the videos that I have, I can tell you the before and after was a stark difference. Okay. In addition to the deck tiles that I recommended for my client, we also had to talk about the furniture that would give them the right kind of sitting, the right amount of sitting in the space, the equipments that we're going to use in terms of like grilling for outdoors, right? And also for entertainment. And so those were all of the things that I had to come up with in this space. So in addition to the deck tiles, I recommended the rug, outdoor rug that they would use for the space that would be durable for outdoors, additional chairs and sofa, additional table for placing things on or for playing games, either with their kids or with guests, and even additional entertainment piece that they could use to set things down on, maybe when they're grilling or when they need to, again, entertain guests. And so to make the space really very versatile and multifunctional. As you see in this picture here, this was initially what I recommended to my client, including this dark gray sofa that you see here and the lights for outdoors, especially at night time, to really bring the space to life. And I recommended this yellow outdoor rug as well, which is very, very versatile and very strong for the outdoors. I also recommended this raisin wicker chairs from CB2, and they're really, really great for outdoors. And we'll talk about more about materials for outdoor spaces and why this were recommended as opposed to like the iron materials that they had before. Then I went ahead to recommend this coffee table that's also an acacia coffee table in the wood material. And you'll see the bottom has another layer for storage and things for outdoors as well, making it very, very useful for the outdoors. Then along with the plants and the pillows that tie the whole space together, and along with the umbrellas as well. One of the main concerns that my clients also mentioned that they wanted in this space was privacy, right? As you could see in those before photos, they have a fence which barely covers their space from another neighbor's space, right? So we needed a way to add some privacy to that without making it permanent, without poking holes into the existing fence that the condo has, right? So one of the things that we recommended was using this beautiful cloth privacy screen, which also has grommets. And you'll see in the final picture how it ends up turning out. We attached them using 2x4s, and the grommets already had holes, right? So it was a great way to be able to just use, like zip ties to attach them with 2x4s next to the existing fence for them to be able to stay that way. And this is something that you could try as well if you have a space like that and you're trying to figure out what to do with the existing fence that you have. Maybe the fence is low and you need to add some privacy. I know some people like to add artificial vines as well. That's another great way to go. But in terms of what I was going for in my client space, we were trying to add more textures because, again, this space is already outdoor, right? So they already have a lot of organic textures around them, right? Coming from nature, coming from the leaves and plants. So we wanted to find a way to add other organic textures into the space without overwhelming it and without making it permanent. So this sun-shade privacy screen was a way to give them that much needed privacy that they needed. One of the things that I really love that we added to the space as well was the Better Homes and Gardens console table for my client. Again, this was a space where they could use to place things on top of, but not just that. It also is an acacia wood, and it also comes with wicker baskets, and not just wicker baskets, but the wicker polyethylene type, right? And there's a difference between the natural type of wicker and also the resin wicker, right? And the resin wicker is much stronger and much more durable than the natural wicker for outdoors over time. And so I loved that this console table came with that wicker basket that was easy to store things, was also great for the outdoors, easy for them to take inside. So it was very versatile. And that's one of the other pieces that I really love in this outdoor space, making it very, very functional for my client. I really love this Brava Modern Outdoor Chair from CB2 that I recommended for my clients. When I was getting it for them, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish it was mine, right? It is so, so great. I love how it looks. It looks very, very stylish, and it is modern. And it's one of the ways that we kind of added texture to my client's outdoor space. And it's not just modern and stylish, but it's functional, it's durable, it's also made out of wicker, so it will last my client a very, very long time. And I love that it's very, very different from other wicker colors with its black and white contrast, again, which fits very nicely into my client's outdoor space. When you are choosing outdoor materials, there are certain things that you have to keep in mind as you plan your patio space. You have to think about the durability, as you hear me mention time and time again. You have to think about the maintenance, right? As I was telling you, my clients wanted something that was low maintenance, right? Something that they could easily grab in, maybe when the storm comes, something that they could easily take care of themselves. You want to think about the weather, the rain, the humidity. You want to think about the sun exposure to the outdoor materials, right? How long will it last in the sun? Will it fade over time? Those are some of the factors that you have to consider when you're sourcing and when you're looking for outdoor materials for your space. Other materials that you could consider for your space also, I would always, always, always recommend, and I love wood, right? You see it in a ton of beautiful spaces and outdoors, and they're really versatile to use, right? There are different types of wood, obviously. Teak is one of the very good ones for outdoor. I also recommended acacia for my clients. But when you're using certain wood materials outside, bear in mind that you may have to, reseal them over time, maybe every few months. Example, it'll last a long time, right? Some of the downside to aluminum sometimes is that maybe it scratches and it dents, and so you just have to pay close attention to the kind of material you do buy for your outdoors if you do source aluminum materials. Wicker is another great material to use for the outdoors, right? But as I mentioned before, there's a difference between the natural one and the resin one, right? The resin one has another layer of protection, right? It's a synthetic wicker made to look like the natural one, and it also has that gives it that weather resistance factor which you're looking for when you're sourcing outdoor materials. Right before we talk about the reveal and I show you guys what the space ends up looking like, what are the things that I recommended in this space, right? So instead of just going with a bare floor, especially because again this is a condo, we couldn't add permanent fixtures to the space, we went with installing deck tiles. They're versatile, they're easy to install, they're also easy to remove should my client decide that they no longer want this in their space or that they want to move. Some of the things that we considered, like I said, is we recommended wood for their for guests when guests arrive. So are you ready for the reveal? Let's see what it looks like now. leave a thumbs up for me and to subscribe. And until next time, bye.